Good morning, everyone. Today is Monday, March 4th. For our devotion today, I want to talk to you a little bit about grief. Because now that we know that school is canceled till the end of the year and we're not going to get to go back, some of you may be experiencing grief. And you might not know that that's what you're experiencing. So I want to go over it today so that you know this is something that's normal and that the feelings you're having are okay and natural, and it's just part of the process and things will get better. So I'm going to go over what grief means. Grief is the reaction we experience after a loss, and there's no right way to grieve. So what have we lost? Well, you might be experiencing grief that you're not going to get to say goodbye to your friends in the classroom. Maybe you'll get to do it over Zoom or something, but you wanted to do it in like an end of year party like normal, and you're grieving that. Or maybe you're grieving the fact that you're not going to get to walk the halls for the clap out. Maybe you really were excited about having a field day, and even though we're going to have a fun day virtually, it's just not the same. It could be anything that you're grieving, and you might not even know that you are grieving. You're just having feelings of loss. So it doesn't have to be loss of a person necessarily. We can feel grief over loss of experiences or loss of a part of our life that we just expected to be happening and now it's not. There's a famous psychologist, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who gave us some stages of grief. She says, I now know that the purpose of my life is more than these stages. It's not just about the life that I've lost, but also about the life that I've lived. So the stages are just something that we experience with grief, and it's not something that we have to go through all the time. This is just grief focused. But here are the stages: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Now you can move from one to the other, to the other, to the other, or you might move from number 1 to 4. You might go through all of them and then repeat it again. This is not just a linear cycle. You could experience all these in a different way, but it's important to recognize the different stages so you'll know when you're in them. So when you're in denial, it's sort of like the refusal to believe that the loss has occurred, right? You might be like, what is COVID-19 anyways? How does anyone know that it's real? Why can we believe people? This is not happening to me, right? That would be the denial stage. I can promise you I've already been through this stage, may return. But this is a normal, natural stage if you're finding yourself having some of those thoughts. Anger. This is experiencing rage. You might start blaming other people or yourselves. You might be saying things like, why is this happening to me? It's not fair. Why does this have to happen my last year, or when I finally had my favorite teacher, or in the summertime when I love being outside eating lunch? Whatever it is, you might be having those feelings like, why me? This isn't fair. I'm so mad at the world, right? That's the anger phase, and it's totally normal and natural. Don't try to rush through this phase. The important thing is to recognize that you're in it and to not take it out on other people, which is really easy to do, right? Blaming your sister for all kinds of things, yelling at your mom or dad, right? Pushing your friends away. You don't want to do that, because it's not really what you're angry at. You're angry at this situation. So just let yourself be angry at it. Then the bargaining phase. This is where we make promises to change if only life will return to normal, right? Like, I promise I will never sin again as long as you just take this virus away and give me back the rest of school. Or if only I had done everything I said I would, this wouldn't have happened, right? This is the bargaining phase. Again, it's a natural, normal human phase. So if you're in this phase, just recognize, hey, I must be grieving because I'm doing this. Depression. This is not the big D depression, which is a mental illness that can require medicine, right? This is a feeling of sadness, of regret, of fear, uncertainty, being lonely. Maybe you've lost interest in things. This is also normal and natural. It does not mean that anything is wrong with you, okay? So if you're starting to feel like there's just no hope, or I just want to be alone, I don't want to talk to anyone, you don't want to do your schoolwork, you don't want to play, all you want to do is nap, you know, you might be in the depression phase. So if you find yourself there, realize, okay, I'm grieving. That's what's happening here. Okay. So depression is a normal part. Then we move to the last stage, which is acceptance. So you are accepting the reality that your life is different than you thought that it was going to be. And now, hey, guess what? We're not going back to school. That's just the reality of the situation, right? And even though the loss is painful, you now know life is going to go on. So you might be starting to say, okay, my life is not going to be the same because I'm not going to get all these things back, but I'm at peace with what has happened. That's the acceptance phase. Now, the beautiful thing about these stages of grief is that once you get to this phase, you know that you can handle anything. So a lot of you have asked me, will things get better? Well, the answer is always yes, because we can always get to the acceptance phase. And when we get here, no matter what's happening, things are better. So I bring this to you today to remind you that any feelings you might be having don't make you weird. And it doesn't mean that you're not fit to handle hard things. It doesn't mean that you're going down and having this, crazy life-altering situation that you'll never return from. It's normal. Let yourself have your feelings and work towards getting to the acceptance phase. So that's what I have for you today, and know that you are beloved and that you are being held even in all the stages of grief. Bye-bye.